उद्घाट्य योग कलया हृदयाब्ज कोशं धन्यैश्चिरादपि यथारुचि गृह्यमाणः यः प्रस्फुरत्यविरतं परिपूर्णरूपः श्रेयस्समे दिशतु शाश्वतिकं मुकुन्दः अमरीकपरीभारभ्रमरी मुखरीकृतं दूरीकरोतु दुरितं गौरी चरणपङ्कजं परस्परतपःसम्पत् परस्परफलायितौ प्रपञ्चमातापितरौ प्राञ्चौ जायापति स्तुमः. I'll just give a recap of the 4 varieties of Luptopama that we have seen. So it's easier this way, so I put it in a table. Vachaka Lupta, Dharma Lupta, Dharma Vachaka Lupta, and then Vachaka Upameya Lupta. These are the 4 kinds that we have seen in the shloka that Kuvalayananda Appayya Dikshita has given. So in the first shloka itself, you have 4 varieties that are given. So Tadit Gauri Tanvi, you take up this Tanvi as the Upameya and work around that if you want the Upameya. If you don't want the Upameya, so Tatha, you have to do it. But here there is no option. Even if Tanvi is there is an Upameya Lupta example that he gives. We'll see that. So Tadit Gauri is an example of Vachaka Lupta, wherein you do not have the Iva Shabda because it is present in this Samasta Padam. So Tadit Iva Gauri, and that Iva Shabda has gone into this Samasa. Usually Samasa, the Padam that is within the Vigraha Vakyam, is the Samasta Padam becomes a Dyotakam of those Padas. So there is a concept of Dyotaka and Vachaka. Dyotakam is something that suggests, whereas Vachaka is something that is directly expressed. Okay, these are the 2 things. So Dyotaka is that which is suggested, so which means it is not directly expressed. Vachakaha na bhavati. In a Samasta Padam, what are all the components within that Padam are not directly expressed in the Pada. Those words are being suggested from this Padam. So for example, when we took Tadit Gauri, we said Tadit Iva Gauri Sa iti. So Tadit Gauri ityatra Iva iti Padam vartate tattu Vigrahavakya eva vartate kintu Samasta Pade tu Iva nasti, because you are only going to attach the Upamanam and the Samanya Vachanam. You are not going to put in the Upama Vachaka Padam also within the Samasta Padam. So that is why it becomes a Dyotakam of those words. I'll tell you why I'm going into this, because it is going to be helpful for understanding 5, 6, and 7 varieties of Luptopama. So in this, the Iva Shabda is within the Samasa, and so you treat it as non-present. Okay. The next one is Dharma Lupta, where Indutulya Asya is the Padam that we are considering. Here, all 3 words are present, wherein Indu is your Upamanam, Asyam is the Upameya, and Tulya becomes the Upama Vachaka Shabda. But then we do not have the Samana Dharma, or the common quality between the moon and the Mukham, which will give us an idea of why he is comparing the moon to the face. So that we take it as Kantyadi, which is absent here. Next is Dharma and Vachaka are not present. Here, Karpuranti Tanvi, we take only those 2 words for us to understand. Mama Drushoho Karpuranti. So she behaves like a Karpura for my eyes. Now what happens here? Here, Karpura Iva Acharati. The Iva, Acharati, all of those are absent. You have Quip Pratyaya, which is added in the sense of Achara, not Ivarthe. Again, this is also very significant in understanding the 5, 6, 7, 8. So understand that the Iva is added here, or Iva present in the Vigraha Vakyam gives rise to Quip. It does not give rise to Quip, but the Acharati Achararthe eva tatra Quip prayogaha bhavati. Okay, so which means Iva is gone, the Quip is also gone. So we have an Upama, we have the Vachaka Lupta in this variety. Again, karpuranti, the netrasya anandam, netreshu anandam dadati, or that is not present here. Netrananda dayakatvam is not there. That is, has a cooling nature for the eyes. That commonality between the tanvi and karpuram is not given. So, dharma lupta also. This was the third variety. In the fourth variety, we have Vachaka and Upameya Lupta. So Kantya Smaravadhuyanti. You take the Kanti also here. If you do not take the Kanti here and just say Smaravadhuyanti, then it becomes an example of Trilupta. All three are gone. Only Upamanam is present. But we need to give an example for this Vachaka Upameya Lupta. So we are taking Kantya Smaravadhuyanti. So, smara vadhuyanti iti padam tu tatra katham sanjatam, you take it as smara vadhum iva acharati. So, she who atmanam smara vadhum iva acharati. She treats herself as a smara vadhu. So, here that atma becomes the upameya, which is absent. Smara vadhu is the upamanam, and kanti is the Kanti is the commonality because we have it as a separate word here, so that becomes the Samana Dharma. Iva again is gone with the Pratyayam that you are looking at, because the Pratyaya added here again, Kyach, is Achararte Kyach natu Ivarte Kyach. So if it is a Pratyaya which is added in to give the sense of Iva, then it will be treated as existing. Because it is a pratyaya which comes in for acharartha, we take it as lopa here. Okay. Now these are the four.
A quick question. I just joined the class late. I'm sorry. Can you explain in the smara vadhu what is the meaning of that word smara?
Smara na manmatha vadhu ratihi.
Smara is another word for
Manmatha. Manmathaha, manobhavaha, smaraha, kamaha.
Oh, okay.
Smarana nanachikardungra artham. So, smaranadeva saha udbhavati. So, he is smara, manmatha. Okay. Yeah. So, these four varieties are done. Now, before we go to the fifth, sixth, and seventh, and eighth varieties, we need to understand the word kakataliyam that is there in this second line. So, yattaya melanam tatra labho me yascha tadratihi tadetat kakataliyam avitarkita sambhavam. Now, before we go to 5, 6, 7, first, how is this word formed? Kakataliyam, kakasya gamanam iva, talasya patanam iva. This is the Vigraha Vakyam that you first form. There are two words in this. The first Samastapadam that forms is Kakatalam. The second Samastapadam that forms is Kakataliyam. We will be addressing both for 5, 6, 7, 8. So the first Padam, how is it formed? Kakasya Gamanamiva, Talasya Patanamiva. A crow flies and stands. It's as if a crow immediately flew and stood on the top of a palm tree, and then a palm fell down. Okay, a palm fruit fell down. Talasya patanam iva. Kaka vandu pananga விழுந்தது. இவ்வளவுதான் அதுல இருக்கு. அது போலன்னு சொல்றச்சேதான் when we go into the second one. So the first one is now kakasya gamanamiva, talasya patanamiva, kinchit sambhavati. Now in this case, we are going to say that the Nayaka randomly went to a forest or went to a place where there were no people, and then randomly or yadrichaya kachana nayika api tatra agata. Tayoho melanam asit prathamam. So kakasya gamanam asit, talasya patanam. In the same way, if you want to say that some meeting between two people happened akasmat, then you stop with kakatalam. That samasa happens because of sahasupa. There is no other ivartha pratyaya or anything that is coming there. So we form a word called kakatalam. Kakatalam means kakasya gamanamiva, talasya patanamiva. That's all. Now, there is yet another incident that happens wherein he also got an opportunity to enjoy time with her. if you want to compare that incident to the Upamana Sthalam, then you say Kakatalam iva. Kakatala samagamaha iva. Natu kevalam samagamaha, tatra samagamanantaram upabhoga iva. So you write samagamaha upabhogaha cha yatha bhavati tatha. So there is a consequence which happens because of this. The palm fruit falls down, it breaks open, the crow is able to enjoy the fruit, enjoy the phalam of its coming there. So there are two actions that are happening. So the first padam that we form is kakatalam, wherein there is only the meeting of the palm tree and the crow. That's all. The next one is just as how the crow ended up enjoying something from there, in the same manner, because these two met, there was also a resultant joy in that meeting. That takes on another pratyaya because of the force of another sutra, which is samasat tadvishayat. Cha pratyaha bhavati. So when there is a samastapadam, kakatala is a samastapadam. When we are trying to indicate another action which takes on the vishaya of what is happening in this samastapadam, that is somebody else. I think the example there given is Devadattaha vanam gacchati tatra choraihi maritaha iti. But we are looking at Shringaram here, and there it is a Raudra Rasa Pradhanam. So I didn't want to take that example. So I'm going with the example of the shloka itself. But now we will look at that. Samasat. So our prakritam here is, once the samasta padam is formed, based on the understanding that there is a similarity between this event and another event, we put in the pratyaya cha because of this sutram, and this sutram comes under the adhikara of ive pratikritau. When there is an iva shabda, kakatalam iva, and there is a similarity, pratikritam, imitation of the same event that is happening, then we put in cha pratyaya. Now what happens to this cha pratyaya? Ayaneya iti anena sutrena chakarasya e is the substitute. So the a that is there remaining in cha will still continue to be in the next step. So e plus a, and then the a goes out because of bha samjna tatra bhavati, tasmat akarasya lopaha bhavati, and then you form the word kakataliyam. Okay, so first kakasya gamanamiva talasya patanamiva kakatalam. Kakatalam kimapi anyat vartate. Tarhi tasya kakataliyam iti punaha ekam padam tatra nirmiyate. Is that clear?
But how do you build a word called kakatalam?
Adadam sonnene. Kakasya gamanam talasya patanam iva. Then you only take kaka and you only take tala. Nera sahasupa potu ada vandu samasta padama.
That part of it is very clear. The second piece, the second example that you gave.
So kakatalam.
Even the fruit that falls down as kakatalam. In the second interpretation,
okay,
you that because the crow thinks it came and therefore the fruit fell and it enjoyed the fruit. In that event, how do you parse the word kakatalam?
Kakatalam iva. So kakasya gamanam iva talasya patanam iva kimapi anyadapi vartate nuttu adha edukano. Avlo dooram namba po mudiyade. So we have already made this padam here. This is the second step here. So we have to say kakatalam iva. Instead of iva, you are putting in cha pratyaya. Avladane. Okay. So kakasya tala upabhogaha iva nu vanna potukkalam. So, kakatala samagamena, kakatala upabhogaha iva. Avlav dooram you have to bring in the meaning there then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shankari.
Shobhavagni, you go.
Okay. Kaka talam, we never use it, right? We always say kakataliyam to say like, when in usage only that comes handy, right? Like you are comparing
Yes.
with Kakatala, so Kakataliyam, right?
Yes.
That's only
You are
say that.
always comparing with Kakataliyam in the sense that you are also able to get to the second part there. Nobody talks only about the first one, but our Appayya Dikshita will take the first one and do the varieties now.
Oh, okay.
That is why I am stressing that there are two samastha padams here.
Got it.
Okay. Now, yes, Shankari.
If the kaka thinks that okay, I came and it fell, so it keeps on flying and retries and see if that flute is going to fall again and again. But it is a one-time occurrence. Like that, also can we use the thing kakatalam? If somebody attempts in vain for something that was a coincident thing, but it is not going to happen again and again if they reattempt it.
So the question is in Kakatali and Nyaya, correct? It is actually the random event having a random consequence.
Yes. So you need, this is the random event and this is the consequence. So there is a random event that first happens, and then if there is a consequence also to it and something happens based on that, then the second part is only Kakataliyam, wherein you bring in the Sadrishyam also. Correct?
The Kaka Vandu Pananga Vindu is actually used in exactly, look at the futility of this is how it is actually used. But the second thing that she's speaking about, the Upabhoga, that is a pretty novel thing. I haven't come across that. That's a beautiful one.
If the original pathilna, and the Samasachala, the example that Kashika gives is something different that he says. See, he says, Kakasya agamanam yadrichikam, talasya patanam cha yadrichikam, tena talena patata kakasya vadhaha kritaha. He says, Kakasya maranam kritam iti. He dies.
That's also I've heard. Yeah.
So that is what he uses, whereas Appayya Dikshita does not use that. He doesn't take that. Evameva devadattasya tatra agamanam dasyunam cha upanipataha. That is, he meets the dacoits. Taischa devadattasya vadaha kritaha. So the dacoits kill Devadatta. This is the example that he gives. But when we take it from there and apply it in alankara shastra, we twist it to suit our method. Kavireka prajapatihi. Avladha. Kavi is a creator who will use it in whatever manner he wants.
Because my original question before I heard the second piece of the Upabhoga, that if you really put that separate, right? My original question was in the Nyaya Shastra, we come across this thing called Ashokavana Nyaya. Why was Sita put in Ashokavana? Simply because it is there. There was no real reason why she was chosen to put her. There's no big logic behind putting her in Ashokavana versus in some other place.
Okay.
It is along the. So I was wondering, even there is this Yadricha component there. I was trying to figure out whether this Kakataliya is also having the Yadricha component. Is there a similarity? But this Upabhoga thing actually threw me off. That is actually more striking than the randomness.
Yes. We go to both varieties of Luptopama because of that. So he takes Kakatalam, Iva, abdina second part. So this part is over. Now, one more thing to note here is, when you just look at this Kakatalam, this is a Samastapada which has Iva as a Dyotakam. And Kakataliyam is a Samastapadam where Iva is present as a Vachaka. These two are also important. Why, I'll tell you. So what is the Dyotakam and Vachakam part here? Dyotakam is where the Iva does not have a presence in the Samastapadam, but it only has a presence in the Vigraha Vakya. Right? Just as how we saw in Karpuranti, the Iva has a presence only in the Vigraha Vakyam. It does not have a presence in the word Karpuranti Samastapadam. Whereas here, what happens? Iva has a presence here in the form of Iya, which is the Cha, and Cha is the substitute for Iva. Is that clear? So that is the difference between Kakatalam and Kakataliyam. Okay. Now when we move on to the next four varieties, this is going to be applied there. Is there any questions so far? Clear. Okay.
It's clear.
Cha pratyaya is always for the taddita pratyaya. Cha pratyaya is it's only nivarte.
Not necessary. It depends on the sutram that comes there. We don't know which sutra is determined by that. So we don't know. Okay. Now for the I'll explain the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th variety. Then we will look at the text. Okay. So here we have to split the 5th and 6th separately because we are looking at the in the part, that is, we are taking the samana dharma avitarkita sambhavam and trying to fix how to do this. So yattaya melanam tatra is one part. Labhaha me yascha tadratehe tadetat kakataliyam avitarkita sambhavam. Now what is the meaning of this shloka? Yat taya tatra melanam, tatra vijanastale, where nobody was present, in that place, in that forest, taya melanam jatam, there I met with her. That is the first part, where the crow comes and sits on the tree. That's all we know. Labhaha me yascha tadratehe, me labhaha, my gain there was tadratehe, the sambhoga or the upabhoga with her was my labha, was my gain in that process. So we take this first portion along with the second line as the statement to describe upamana lupta. Okay, so tadetat kakataliyam avitarkita sambhavam tadratehe labhaha yascha me labhaha. This is your format for considering upamana lupta. Now how is it going to be? What are we describing here? The Nayaka is trying to describe his rati labha, the way he could get to enjoy her. So tanve rati labha becomes your upameyam. That is what he is trying to describe, but he is comparing it to kakasya tala upabhogaha iva asti iti. So that kakataliyam does not have the word upabhoga in it at all. That upabhoga is absent within the padam. So anything that we do not see in the samasta padam is only a dyotaka, in the sense it is, you treat it as adarshanam, you treat it as not seen. So the upabhoga part is not at all seen in the padam kakataliyam, because kaka means kakasya agamanam, tala ityukte talasya patanam, and tatra iya ityasya tu iva ityeva vartate. That the first sentence of kakasya agamanam talasya patanam is there, but then the upabhoga part is not present there. So the upamana lupta. This avitarkita sambhavam is something that is coincidental, or it was not a planned incident. Avitarkita sambhavam. Both these are something that was not at all in the plan. So, kakasya tala upabhogaha api, that the crow could eat the fruit, was also not planned, and that the Nayaka could enjoy the Nayika was also not in the plan. So this avitarkita sambhavam becomes the samana dharma. Now where is our cha pratyaya? That the cha pratyaya becomes your upama vachaka shabda. Okay, clear so far for upamana lupta?
But when we are thinking of the kaka dying case, that also can be used just directly as kakataliyam, right?
Yes, yes.
Can also be the crow dying part.
Yes, yes, you can use. Appropriately, you have to use. You have to try to find out some situation to apply that kakataliyam. Okay. Yeah. Now the next one is
Krishna's going back to Vaikuntha itself is the same thing, right? Somebody seeing a bird move, he shoots and it happens to be Krishna. Is just a no?
Yeah, he is just randomly sitting there and yeah, I guess so. Sollala. That is also Kakataliyam. Yeah. Now this next one is Vachaka Upamana Lupta. Now look at the part which we are taking. We are not going to take this section at all. We are completely removing that Labhaha me yascha ratihi. We are only taking this sixth one. So yat taya melanam tatra. Tat etat Kakataliyam avitarkita sambhavam. So tat taya melanam. Only the meeting part is going to be here. Nothing else. Okay. So yat taya melanam tat etat Kakataliyam avitarkita sambhavam. Again, avitarkita sambhavam, it is something unplanned incident becomes the samana dharma. And then mama tat samagamaha eva. Just as how the crow came and sat down, the talapa phalam fell down. That's all we are indicating. We are not going to the second part at all. So which means the comparison is only up to this Kakatalam. It is not with this second part. Is it clear? So what is happening here? We do not have an Iva at all. And that entire Kakatalam has gone within the Samasta Padam here. So we do not have its presence at all. So Kaka Agamanam or Kaka Gamanam Tala Patanam is only in the Vigraha Vakya for the first Samasta Padam. So the Upamanam is not present here. Upamana Lupta. Again, this Iva is also not present here because this Iva is again embedded within the first formation itself. Is that clear? So, Vachaka.
So it is just Kakatalam, right?
That's
Without
all we
Iva,
need
it is
to
just
take.
Kakatalam.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you please repeat this one more time?
Okay.
Now,
so Kakataliyam, what does this word indicate? This word indicates three things here. Kaka Gamanam, Kaka Tala Patanam, which is already formed. Now you have an incident, a coincidental, unexpected incident that is being mentioned, which is similar to Kaka Agamanam, Tala Patanam. And the Kakatalam word we have formed. Okay. That you are now talking about a similarity with this incident, as in Upabhoga. So Kakatala Upabhogaha. After that only you are forming the word Kakataliyam. Is that clear? Adu varaikum overa. Adla the resultant word can only be compared to tadratehe labhaha. The resultant word does not indicate only melanam. Melanam is only the first part. Ratihi is the second part. Upabhogaha is the second part. Only Upabhoga is mentioned by Kakataliyam. When you do the iyam, that part should come. Now, if we are only taking yattaya melanam, tattu Kakataliyam, then you are actually indicating the first samasta padam, which is behind this Kakataliyam. Puriyada?
In the Kakataliya Nyaya itself, it's simply...
அங்கேருந்து நீங்க அலங்கார சாஸ்திரத்துக்கு வந்தாகணும்.
Say, for example, the event of coming and the fruit falling, and the first thing that is happening is the event. So the meeting is the first event. The fact that there is a melanam is the after effect.
Ama. No, melanam, illa melanam is the meeting first. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து மேலனம் itself does not mean does not indicate that they are making love. That is not the indication there. Melanam is just meeting, seeing eyes. That's all.
Correct. Okay. Let me correct myself. So the first event that is happening is meeting. Consequently, there is whatever the Rati Bhava.
Yes.
Upabhoga, correct? So, at the point of meeting, you are saying it is simply Kakatalam?
Yes. It is not Kakataliyam. The Cha Pratyaya has not come there as yet.
So, you are saying without the Upabhoga, if you don't have a consequent effect of the fruit falling, there is no Kakataliyam at all.
Consequent of fruit falling illa. Consequent of the crow enjoying the fruit.
Okay. This is completely new. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Seriya? To split it into 3 events. What is happening? One is the crow is coming, and then the second is Tala Patanam. Inge Nayakasya Agamanam, Nayikaya Saha Melanam. The final part where Kakataliyam comes in, that is where there is Kakasya Tala Upabhogaha happens. Here Nayakasya Nayika Upabhogaha happens. Is that clear?
Yeah. So in Alankara Shastra, it's significantly different than the Nyaya. Okay, got it. I'm with you.
That's all.
It's clear. Okay, got it.
Okay. So here what happens is Yattaya Melanam Tadetat Kakataliyam only indicates the Agamanam and Talapatanam. That's all. She is also there. He comes there and she also happens to be there. That is all is being indicated. And this is again an unplanned Sambhava. Okay. If you have understood 5 and 6, then 7 and 8 are the same, wherein we just remove the Avitarkita Sambhavam. What are we doing to that? We change the last line to Iti Janihi He Sakhe. Understand it to be like this. He Sakhe. Yattaya Melanam Tatra Labho Me Yascha Tadratehe Tadetat Kakataliyam Iti Janihi He Sakhe. You're not even stating that it is an unplanned incident. Only if you state that it is an unplanned incident are you going to have that as the Samana Dharma. So in the earlier 5 and 6 inga na thappa poturuken 7 and 8 irukano. This should be 7 and this should be 8. So in the 7 it is the same thing as the earlier where it was only Upamana Lupta. Here you are including Dharma there and saying Dharma Upamana Lupta because you are considering the last line to be different. You are removing Avitarkita Sambhavam. The same applies to the next case wherein Dharma Upamana Vachaka Lupta. You do not have the Dharma, neither do you have the Upamanam, nor do you have the Upama Vachaka Shabda. Is that clear? This Iya is not the Kaka Agamanam Iva Tala Patanam Iva Ityatra Yaha Iva Shabdaha Vartate Satuatra Nasti. This Iva Shabda indicates Kakatalam Iva. That Iva is different from the earlier one. Okay. Any doubts till now?
Why there is 2 Eva, Maudya? I couldn't fully understand. One Eva is Kakasya Agamanam Eva, Talasya Patanam Eva, that has gone into forming the compound called Kakatalam. The second Eva is
the Cha. That
you have already put. Yeah. That Tiva is there. But in the example 7 and 8, Iti Janihi, that one.
What is happening here?
There is no Avitarkika Sambhavam. Instead, you are replacing that phrase with the Iti Janihi He Sakhe is there.
Yes,
so
correct.
Where is the Iva there?
Cha Pratyaya in Kakataliyam is still present for us.
So what are Pratyaya? Okay.
So we are correct.
It's
so
not
we are
different Iva. Okay, got it. It's the same Iva. The second Iva is
second Iva only is
the second
for
Iva
this
was
one.
Used for the Kakataliyam part is the reused in this example also. Okay.
This is our Ramaraj and Vazhapazha.
So it's the same similar thing. Actually, the Dharma Upamana Vachaka Lupta is very, very easily said in Kavya Prakasha. The example is very simple there. Mriganayana ityasti. So it's a much simpler example for Dharma Upamana and Vachaka Lupta. So that you will understand what we are talking about with this white board to write. there should be a whiteboard sharing. என்னாச்சு? ஷோ.
இப்பெல்லாம் எல்லாமே கோபைலட்மா.
Co-pilot. Where should I search for it?
Below the like more, if you go, it is there under more.
ஆமா.
New
More.
whiteboard.
Oh, okay. Wait. More. எங்க இருக்கு? இல்லையே, ஷேர் கம்ப்யூட்டர் சவுண்ட் இருக்கு.
இல்ல ஷேர் இல்ல.
அந்த captionsக்கு அப்புறம் வருதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
I can't find
captions.
Stop share and then you will see it maybe.
Oh, no. Stop share. Documents. The whiteboard irukke. Sorry. Got it. Mriganayana. Yeah, I was going to say about that. 1 minute. So, Mriganayana. Iti samasta padam vartate. Now, what is the vigraha vakyam for this? Mrigasya nayane iva nayane yasyaha sa. Now, this here, the upamanam, what is the upamanam here? Mrigasya nayane is the upamanam. Is that clear? So, mrigasya nayane becomes the upamanam. Iva is your vachakaha. There is no dharma here because it is beautiful or chanchalatvam tadrisha kimapi dharmaha nasti atra, and upameya is your nayane, her nayanam or naikayaha nayanam. Yeah, that becomes the upameya, that which we want to describe. We want to describe her. This is with respect to the examples that Malavika paathu Agnimitram sonnanuttu oru Kuvalayananda. Yes, actually Kuvalayananda kuda varadu. Adhu illa, this is totally different. So okay, this is upameyaha. Okay, now how does the word form? The word forms with this mriga and this nayana. So the resultant word we form with mriga nayana actually has the upameya part. It does not have this iva. Iva is swallowed within the samasta padam. This nayane is also swallowed. Mriga is not our upamanam. Mriga is a totally unconnected padam. Mrigasya nayane is the upamanam. We do not want the entire mrigam here. So this nayanam is also swallowed. So the upamanam is gone. Iva vachaka shabda is gone. I have not given any dharma here. So only the upameya is there, which is the naikayaha nayane.
This is like a gajananaha.
Gajananam.
Agajasya ananamiva ananam yasya. The same.
இது கொஞ்சம் ஷேர் பண்ணிடுங்க குரூப்ல.
Okay, sure. பண்ணலாமே.
This makes it more clear now.
This will be very simple and easier to understand. இப்போ நம்ம திருப்பியும் காக்கத்தாலியம் போகணும் because we have to read the text now. I have just explained it. Now you have to parse what is there in the text. Yeah. Now
so that mriganayane is only when upameya is there, right?
When it indicates her. When it and not mrigasya nayane. Mriganayane etina. Ya mrigasya nayane eva nayane yasyaha sa, then you go. Mrigakshi. These are all Meenakshi. Meenasya akshini akshini yasyaha sa. That is also another case of this. Dharma upamana.
This is like a dharma vachaka upamana lopa.
Lupta. Yes.
Lupta.
Lupta. Why Kuvalayananda won't work?
Because
So
Kuvalayam
Kuvalayam nayanam yasyaha sa.
Okay. It's not Kuvalayasya nayanam iva nayanam is not there. Correct.
It is
Got
not
it,
like
yes,
that.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you read this? Yeah. Shobha.
तत्र विजनस्थले मे तद्रतेर्लाभः इति यत्
अवितर्कितसम्भवम्
यत् अवितर्कितसम्भवं यादृच्छिकं तदेतत् काकतालीयम् इति उपमानलुप्तायाः उदाहरणम्.
So this is clear, right?
So,
From what I've said now. Now we go into the grammar part.
Kaka gamanamiva tala patanamiva kakatalam. Tataha kakatalamiva kaka krita talopabhogaha iva ityarthe vivakshite ive pratikritau ityadhikarastena समासाच्च तद्विषयात् इति सूत्रेण छ प्रत्ययः विहितः तस्य च आयने इत्यादि सूत्रेण ई आदेशः तथा
So this whole thing I've just put it in that table and shown you. That's all. So now it will be easier and you'll understand this. Easy. Okay? Yeah.
Correct. तथा च मम तन्वी सुरतलाभरूपं मम तन्वी सुरतलाभरूपं यद्वस्तु अवितर्कितसम्भवं तत् काककृततालोपभोगसदृशमिति निष्कृष्टः अर्थः.
So mama tanvi suratalabarupam yat vastu. What the fact that I had an opportunity to be with her, taya saha sambhogaha tatra jataha iti yaha labhaha asit tattu avitarkita sambhavam. That is something unexpected. It is like kaka krita tala upabhoga sadrisham. It is very similar to the crow enjoying the fruit of the palm tree.
Tala. Atra tanvi suratalaabhah उपमेयम् अवितर्कितसम्भवत्वं साधारणधर्मः च प्रत्ययश्च सादृश्यवाचकः इति त्रयाणाम् उपादानम् अस्ति.
All three are there.
कविकृत तालोपभोगरूपमुपमानं न उपात्तम् इत्युपमानलुप्ता.
कविकृत इति न. I think it should be काककृत
अत्र समासविषये काकतालशब्दौ लक्षणया तत्समवेतक्रियाबोधकौ.
So समासविषये काकतालशब्दौ लक्षणया तत्समवेतक्रियाबोधकौ. That is samavetam. Kaka samaveta tala. That kriya is indicative of that in the samasa. So it is only lakshanaya tatra samavetatvam bodhyate iti. So it is not a direct vachakam. That's why I said take it separately, wherein that eva is not at all seen in the samasa. So samasa, a samasta padam, becomes a dyotakam for the eva.
So here he's saying the word kaka does not mean crow, but it is the arrival of the crow by lakshana.
Yes.
By lakshana.
Yes.
Similar same thing for tala. So both are working by secondary meaning. We get kaka gamanam and tala patanam.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So, but what is the point of saying that? I mean, where is he leading with that?
No.
Then it's not just talking about kaka and tala, it is talking about the kriya, right? Kakasya
agamanam and so it is absent
coincidence.
Here. Coincident. That's what we want to know.
So are we saying that this is some kind of lopa? Is that what he's saying?
That is later. See, later we want to say that in the next varieties 7 and 8, we want to say that this kakatalam is itself is a lakshana. So which means that is not present in the kakataliyam, wherein the kriya is not mentioned here at all. Whereas so that is what we want in the 7 and 8 varieties. Right?
Okay. So he's just setting the stage here.
That's all.
Okay.
Surata labha is mentioned. What is that surata labha? Why that?
Surata is enjoyment. Rati, sambhogaha.
Okay, surata.
Rati and Rata is Ramanam. She enjoys with him.
Okay.
Intimacy.
That is done, right?
Yeah, that is done. So now we move on to the 6th one. This is where we are going to go to the Kakatalam part and not the Kakataliyam.
Tatra mama taya melanam मम तत्र गमनं तस्याः तत्र आगमनं च अवितर्कितसम्भवं काकगमनमिव तालपतनमिव काकतालमिति वाचकोपमानलुप्तायाः उदाहरणम्. Just tasyaha agamanam mama gamanam, only those two.
Only that part he is taking. Sure.
Mama tanmelanam kaka gamana talapatana sadrisham avitarkita sambhavam iti palitarthaha. Mama tasyaha saha melanam kaka gamana talapatana sadrisham avitarkita sambhavam iti palitarthaha.
So it is an unplanned event that happened, just like how the crow came and the fruit fell. That is how I met her.
Atra kakatalam iti samasacha tadvishayat iti gnapakat samase vachakasya lopaha.
So this part is a little very doubtful here the way he is saying it. So I would rather take it as samasacha tadvishayat iti gnapakat, because the cha pratyaya is added after a samasa. In the samasa itself, the first iva is gone, is lopa. We only have the second iva playing a role. It's not as clear here. That's why I gave the explanation beforehand.
Oh, now I understand it. Okay.
Seriya?
But where is it mentioned that crow dying? Where is it mentioned?
Adu vandu Kashikala irukku. It is in Vyakarana example. Adu. Namak inge adu venda. Adnalda anda amangalamana dying alla inge venda. In Shringara, we will only have Shringara Purvakama examples.
So one more time, so sorry, one more time if you don't mind mentioning. What is the first Iva and what is the second Iva?
நீங்க மிஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன் கிளாஸ் நினைக்கிறேன். I think you didn't come.
Agamanam iva talasya patanam iva is used to make the compound called kakatalam. So there itself is the.
Oh, that's the first Iva. Okay.
That is the first Iva. The second Iva is kakatalam Iva is the second Iva. This Iva is replaced by cha. So that is why we have this Iva following through to the second compound.
Okay, and the first Iva was understood by lakshana?
No, yes. So this first Iva and along with its kriya is not at all followed through. It does not follow through in this compound. So it is understood through lakshana, which means this kakatalam becomes a dyotakam of that kriya and the Iva.
And the Iva. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay. And the second Iva is hidden in the pratyaya.
In the pratyaya.
So it's not apparent. Okay.
It may not be apparent, but it is. You take it as vachakam. So that is why you take it as existent.
Oh, it is ukta iti. Okay.
It is uktam. So which means we have the vachaka shabda when we consider kakataliyam and when we consider the upabhoga.
That's interesting because here he's saying that okay, the pratyaya is there, so the Iva shabda is ukta. Whereas in the first example that we read in the last class, when we said kyang and kyach, there also it is.
It is not ivarthe. That's what I said. You missed that part because you came in late. That first section was, I said very specifically that the kyach and kyang or quip are all added for acharartha, not ivartha. Atra tu iva.
कर्पूरम इव आचरति किल
न आचारार्थे एव तत्र क्विप् भवति न तु इवार्थे भवति. इवार्थे भवति चेत् तत्र साक्षात् प्रतीयते एव समस्तपदे.
ओके आचारार्थे भवति नाम इव तर्हि इव शब्दः न
उक्तः एव तत्र. इव तु इट् बिकम्स् गान् वित् दि विग्रहवाक्यम्.
Okay, so you're saying
you look at the sutram definition, it says clearly that the pratyaya is added for acharartha, not iva acharati. Ivarthe tatra pratyaya iti nasti.
There it's all Vachaka Lopa. Those are examples for Vachaka Lopa. Karpuranti and Smaravadhuyanti. In both of them, Vachaka is Lupta.
Luptam.
Okay.
That's right.
Fine. Pacha Pratyaya is actually Sakshat Vachaka.
Ivarthe eva tatra vartate cha ityasya iya iti tatra. There is a substitute for that, and that iya is still present in Kakataliyam.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
It's like Acharate has consumed the Iva, and here nothing has consumed the Iva, so Iva is still continuing to exist.
In different forms.
Yeah.
अत्र काकतालमिति समासाच्च तद्विषयात् इति ज्ञापकात् समासे वाचकस्य लोपः उपमानमपि काकगमनतालपतनात्मकं समासान्तर्गतमपि न शब्दोपात्तमिति वाचक उपमानलुप्ता मम तत्समागमः उपमेयम् यादृच्छिकत्वं साधारणधर्मः.
Avitarkita Sambhavam or Yadrichikam becomes the Sadharana Dharma. Mama Tat Samagamaha, my meeting her becomes the Upameyam. And then Samasa Antargatamapi, even though that Kakata, Gamanam, Tala, Patanam is present in Kakataliyam in some way, but it is the first step. It is not the final Vigrahavakyam that we saw of Kaka. Kakatalam iva ityatra nasti. Gamanam and patanam kriya are all completely swallowed by the samasta padam. Samasa antargatam natu shabda upattam. So that gamanam and patanam, which is what is being compared to mama tat samagamaha. It is only the kriya that is being compared there. It is not, I don't need to compare kaka and tala vrikshaha. To the two of them. I am only comparing the kriya there. But that kriya is swallowed in the padam. So shabda upattam na. It is not specifically expressed with words. Is it clear now?
Very clear.
The last two varieties are very similar. He just finishes it off with one paragraph. Can continue?
7 and 8. Udaharana shloke avitarkita sambhavam ityasya sthane iti janihi इति जानीहि हे सखे इति पाठे साधारणधर्मस्यापि लोपे पञ्चमषष्ठे एव सप्तमाष्टमयोरुदाहरणे भवतः.
If you have understood,
examples.
Yeah, if you have understood 5 and 6, then you will automatically understand 7 and 8 because it's the same without the dharma.
Okay. Me tadrater labah iti yat तदेतत् काकतालीयम् इति धर्मोपमानलुप्तायाः मम तया तन्न मेलनम् इति मम तया तत्र मेलनम् इति यत् तदेतत् काकतालम् इति धर्मोपमानवाचकलुप्तायाः च उदाहरणम्.
You have just added the dharma to both cases. That's all. The fifth one was upamana lupta, sixth one was upamana vachaka lupta. You have added the dharma also here because you removed the dharma part from the shloka.
So we don't need the kakataliyam for the 7 and 8. We only need the kakatalam for this.
One of them requires kakataliyam. Like 5 is kakatalam, 6 is kakatalyam, again 7 is kakatalam, 8 is kakatalyam, something like that. Yeah.
You need that. You need it. It's the same way.
When you take that tadratehe, that rati is the upabhoga is the thing fruit, then you need that.
You need the taliyam. Yes. If it is melanam, which is the point that you are comparing, then you need only kakatalam, not taliyam.
So because the 7 and 8 is replacing that iti jani him he sake, so that's why I thought we don't need that here.
No. We are only removing avitarkita sambhava, which is the dharma. That's all.
Okay.
We are not removing anything else from the picture. Yeah.
Okay.
The 8th one is trilopa. The others are all 2 or 1. Okay.
So basically, we don't need tarka. It's avitarkita sambhava.
Tarkam illada enge irundu. We need logic here.
Explain the tala falling on the crow.
I
mean
இப்படி நீங்க வந்து இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் உடனே யோசிக்கணும். Imagine. Use your
If you want Tala falling on the crow, you can think the Nayaka getting heart attack looking at Nayaki.
No, she is actually asking about a situation where how will the fruit fall on the crow? Imagine a branch underneath where there are lots of fruits hanging on top of the crow. So the crow comes and stands here, and there is a shaking of the tree, and then it falls on the crow and it dies.
Serious Bollywood group dance level la porenga neenga.
And adu vandu vyakarana example illa, but this is Kavya example. Okay, so vyakarana killing the crow.
Sringarama mudikalam class na avangalama da mudikanum theermanam pannirukku.
Yeah, in one the fruit is falling from top, and in one the fruit is falling from the top, and the other the fruit has fallen on the ground. So
yes,
you think
that's how it is. Correct. Okay, so we will stop.